The Fed, who's supposed to be doing quantitative tightening, stealthily bought $48 billion worth of treasuries in the past couple of days. Actually, almost $70 billion that they put into 10-year and 3-year treasuries over the past 3, 4 days. So, what was there no demand despite these treasuries earning over 4%? Yeah, well, I think that the trend is well underway of gold and silver being, or more so gold than silver. I mean, on the state level, there is silver too, but really on the state and on a broader level, maybe even globally, gold, I think, is on its way to be reintegrated into the monetary system. There are 11 states right now that recognize gold as and silver as U.S. currency, making them legal tender. It's a big deal. And also you have contract law, who makes contracts legally enforceable in those states that would settle in gold and silver. There are others, maybe 2 times that, over 20 more, that have it either in process or in front of their legislature. Obviously, Florida is one that just signed this, or I believe, just has to be signed by DeSantis. It's all but done. You got Missouri, you have Oklahoma, you have Texas, Utah, Wyoming, Alaska. These states are doing just that. They're allowing their constituents exodus from the fiscal irresponsibility and the silly monetary policy where, just since January, the dollar's lost 9%, right? And so I don't know what gold is up since January. I could probably figure that out. Since January, gold is up. Let's see, what that would be, 6 months basically. Well, since January, gold is up. Was that? Gotta go back a little. Oh, no, right there. It was about 2,700. So it's almost, it's up $500 or so. So it's up about 20% while the dollar is down 9 for a net 30%. Um, and that's just in a very short period of time. So yeah, I think it's fantastic that these states are recognizing the fact that holding your wealth in dollars is a recipe for going broke, let alone the risks that it poses within the banking system. But let's hope that this is a trend that continues and we start to see more and more states sign on to allowing their constituents to settle in gold and silver. Now, most of these states, it's not mandatory. The legislation reads, if a purveyor, a shopkeeper would like to accept gold and silver, and you're willing to trade with it, why then it can be legal tender. So you can't make someone do it. But look, if you would have asked me this years ago, I said there's not a chance in Haiti that we will ever see gold and silver being reintroduced at the state level as legal tender. Maybe the federal level, maybe in my wildest dreams. But it's interesting that the states are taking the lead here. And when you look at the current administration, who undoubtedly understands gold with the massive imports, which we can talk about in a moment, um, deliveries on COMEX really is what I want to talk about, because there's an awful lot of them with, we've talked about Scott Bessent. We've talked about the tweet that Trump made on Easter Sunday. We've talked about Judy Shelton. I mean, there's so much um, going on with gold in particular. And I think the current administration understands it. So if we've ever had a chance of seeing this expand just past 11 states and maybe even something on a federal level, this is the time. So I think, what can people do? Well, if any of the states that have this either in committee or in front of the legislature, people are living in those states, obviously reach out to your representative and bombard them with emails. And it's silly that the Constitution says money is specie, gold or silver, and it's treason to issue anything that isn't, and illegal. That we've gone that far away, So yeah, it gives me hope, and seeing Florida, my home state here, recognize that overwhelmingly is really cool. So I haven't tried to spend gold coins anywhere yet, but you never know. Maybe it becomes commonplace as time goes by. And it should be a federal mandate. It's silly that it's only on the states, but such as the passage of time and history, and gold has kind of been erased from the vernacular. And you think about Wells Fargo. I mean, this was a bank that was more or less founded on the gold rush, and yet they're so far away, except for suppressing it on COMEX, from understanding what gold really is, at least on a regional level, on a local level. Hopefully we see things come at least some semblance of full circle. And things are getting very interesting too for the reason to hold gold and silver. I mean, the Fed, who's supposed to be doing quantitative tightening, stealthily bought $48 billion worth of treasuries in the past couple of days. Well, actually, even more than that. I take that back, 34.8 billion in 10-year bonds over 2 days, and 14 billion. Actually, it is. I was right. It's actually almost $70 billion that they put into 10-year and 3-year treasuries over the past 3-4 days. So, what was there no demand despite these treasuries earning over 4%? Is there no demand for our treasury? And this is a pathway to much higher inflation. And maybe this is why Powell talked about potentially having to abandon the dual mandate. In other words, let inflation go, because we can't do both. And so, when you look at a dollar that's fallen 9% since January, this will accelerate it when you see the Fed coming in and very quietly, not really announcing anything, but quietly buying up what appears to be, the mid portion of the treasury market, the 3 and the 10-year. It's all very contrived, but it's also very inflationary. It's if you look at, just like, go back to 1971 when Nixon closed the gold window. Gold was $35 an ounce. I mean, it's lost 7% of its value in my lifetime. I was born in 1970. So, yeah, it lost 9% since January. It lost 96 or 7% since 1971. And you can go back through all the time, go back to 33 and do it, go back to 1960 and do it. You'll find comparisons where, most of the time gold maintains your standard of living, and sometimes it even accentuates it. But to keep all of your wealth in dollars right now is as silly as can be. It's as dumb as a mud wall. It's a guaranteed recipe for going broke. And I think, as Rick Rule often says, if you are not a contrarian, you're destined to be a victim. And it won't be easy. The volatility that we've seen lately is fantastic. I mean, up 50, down 50, up 100, down 75, up 120, down 200. I mean, it's crazy. So it won't be easy, but I do think that kind of signifies maybe approaching some sort of a resolution in this system. Maybe it be a reset or a blow off or a correction or whatever the heck it means. But when we see the Fed having to come in and buy up that much in the way of treasuries, it signals that the demand for our debt is waning. At the same time, you're seeing, much of the world, the Asian countries, along with what used to be adversaries, now finding a path to being allies. Japan and South Korea and China, they're all joining together, pushing back against the tariffs and really the hegemony, and settling transactions across new technology, the bridge technology. And China opening up vaults all around the world, just opened one in Saudi Arabia. They want to expand it and open to internationalize the yuan. People said that would never happen, and settle the imbalances in gold. That's why they want to open up vaults in other parts of the world. At the same time, they say, by the way, that technology will be open to non-BRICS nations as well. This is the M-Bridge technology. So the whole thing is beginning to accelerate. And that's why I wonder, you look at all of the moves that Trump has made since he's been in office, and they have not been friendly to the dollar. So you have to wonder to yourself, I mean, is it missteps, or is it coordinated? Do they understand this as part of the plan? I don't know, but it won't be easy, and it's going to be volatile. And one day you'll feel like a hero, the next day is zero. And no one ever said investing would be easy, or protecting your money. In fact, my grandfather always used to say to me, making money is easy, Andy. Saving it's not. Keeping it's not. And never made sense to me. But It does now. I mean, where do you feel safe? Your banks with bail-in legislation, the market with the great taking and the change of the Universal Commercial Code. Um, where do cryptos, is that safe? Is it safe in metals? Who knows? Where is it safe? What's the easy path? There is none. So um, I think that banking on not only 5,000 years worth of historic wealth, but also watching what the biggest money in the world is doing. And the deliveries on Comex, I think, are indicative of the biggest money in the world. Tells me that for me, I feel comfortable not being the poster child for Finance 101 and being a little bit heavier than most would consider prudent in gold and silver, which to me is not an investment, it's money, it's wealth.